I know, but I want to play it right now. Where you? But this is a full clip because my boy recorded the whole thing. I don't even know it's recorded. Damn, bro. Is there a way you can resend it to me, Donna? Hmm. Okay, okay. I found it. I found it. Listen. It's called Sunan Abi Dawud 2873. It's a very simple hadith. It's a hadith, right? It's called Sunan Abi Dawud 2873. It's a very simple hadith. Mind you, the person saying is Adam. He's hella hype. She came up to defend him. She's like, he's like, yeah. And then at the end of it, he's like, oh wow. He was like, oh wow. He thought he ate so bad. Oh my God, this was one of my favorite things. It's a hadith, right? It's called Sunan Abi Dawud 2873. It's a very simple hadith. It says that Muhammad said there is no orphanhood after puberty. So in Islam, once an orphan reaches puberty, they're not considered a yatim anymore, which means orphan. I love when these Islamophobes try to throw in Arabic words to like validate their stance. Like, cause cause you speak Arabic, we gotta believe you now. You know what I mean? You're credible. So the fact that chapter 4 verse 6 is referring to them as orphans means that they haven't reached puberty yet, number one. Number two. So she's saying that the verse, she's trying to exegete the verse. She's giving us her tafsir. This is Asta Sajenda's tafsir. She said that because of the hadith, that it must be talking about pre-puberty, because it's calling them orphans. And there's a hadith that says you can't call them orphans because once they reach puberty. So because the ayah is calling them orphans, they're prepubescent orphans. Think about what she's saying, right? But the whole purpose of the ayah is that when are they no longer orphans? Meaning they can inherit their family's, inheritance. Like they're allowed to get it once they're no longer orphans, which is when they reach the age of puberty, which is also what the age of marriage. This says it. It's not my interpretation, bro. You got to read the Quran. It says marriageable age. So listen. They're not considered a yatim anymore, which means orphan. So the fact that chapter 4 verse 6 is referring to them as orphans means that they haven't reached puberty yet, number one. Number two, chapter 4 verse 6 is literally about an orphan's wealth and how it should be distributed. I want y'all to listen exactly the type of logic I'm dealing with here, okay? So this woman came and said that there's no yatim after puberty. And the verse itself says, when do you give the inheritance that a child has from their family who is an orphan? Their family died, they left inheritance. When do you give it to them? Because you're the guardian of the child and his inheritance. When do you give it to him? I wonder if it's what the hadith says, when he's no longer an orphan. Yes. And when does that happen? At puberty. Yes. So the verse is saying this child is no longer an orphan. Give him his inheritance at the age of the marriageable age, which is puberty. Where does it say that? Where does it say that? Bro, they're so embarrassing, dog. But you know what? I have to hand it to them, bro. Wallah, they actually give me, like, content. I don't know. I love that, bro. I love shitting on them, dude. I love it, bro. More than anything in the world. If I could sit on this live all day and embarrass Islamophobes, that's what I would do for a living. Not them proving that according to Islam, marriageable age is after puberty without realizing. That's exactly what happened. That's literally exactly what she did, bro. But where does it say that? She said. And then the dude, Adam, was like, oh, wow. I want to schedule a debate with that Sokta. I swear to God, I want to schedule a debate. What is the actual age of puberty in years? It varies, right? It varies per person, but it typically will start. It starts at like 8, 9 years old. And the thing is, from an Islamic perspective, like even that verse, chapter 4, verse 6, it doesn't say once you reach puberty that you're good. This is like how perfect the Quran is, because that would be kind of generic and it would apply to scenarios that don't make sense. Like imagine you had somebody who was like, I don't know, had some sort of cognitive delay where they can't function, like they're not, they have some sort of genetic disorder and they can't function. You wouldn't hand that person money or inheritance, or you wouldn't get that person married, right? So the verse goes on to say that once they meet the marriageable age, test them for sound judgment. You understand that? So let me actually pull up the verse for you. Chapter 4, verse 6, Quran. Okay, it says exactly like this. It says, test the competence of the orphans until they reach a marriageable age. In Arabic, this says, حتى إذا بلغوا النكاح. Nikah is marriage. And it says, then if you feel they are capable of sound judgment, return their wealth to them. So there's two parts to the criteria for marriage, for independence, for receiving your inheritance. All of these things, for no longer being considered an orphan, is that when you reach puberty, but you also have to have good judgment. So you have to be mature. You have to be able to like make decisions, decision-making capabilities. So this is Islam for you, yeah. And what up, user? What's good with you? Yeah. So that's it. That's what I have for y'all today. This agenda got cooked. I dare you not to blink. Sahuri, alhamdulillah, became Muslim. That's dope, actually. Can you read my username? No way he put the ask in there. That's crazy. These guys are losing their minds, to be honest with you. Oh yeah, guys, make sure you read Surah Al-Kahf today. It's Friday. It's the night of Friday. So you have now until tomorrow, 5 p.m. to make sure you complete Surah Al-Kahf. I usually do it before Jummah or after Jummah. Anyway, so that's what happened today. You said Esther Red Flag posted it. What did she post all of it? Because I had a Showtime and I feel like I cooked in that Showtime, but I can't find that piece. Guys, everybody go to Esther Red Flag. No fucking way I typed in red flag instead of... How do I get the red flag to come up? I gotta go and search for it. That's crazy. I have to scroll through all of these emojis. There's so many. Is it easier way to do this? I found a red triangle. Oh, there it goes. Okay, search. When did she do? Oh.
question.
Let me answer.
Was why are you bringing up chapter 4, verse 6 when we're talking about chapter 65, verse 4? And I'm telling you, because the Quran is in context, it's not cherry picking. So in order to understand...
You didn't know the context of this verse. I had to explain to you the context of this
He
verse.
shook. Adam shook. He lost so bad he shook. Let me tell you.
What?
Look, they won't let me answer. Kapara,
bro, this guy's
let me say something. Guys, I'm at work. Stop.
They got cooked. Wallahi, they got cooked. Anyway, I'll tell you why. Because
Screaming that you got cooked doesn't mean you got cooked.
In order to understand divorce,
You can't even boil
marriage.
water.
And in order to
You can't even boil water.
In order to understand marriage, you need to look to the same source that you're trying to understand divorce. And in the Quran, it says marriageable age.
I didn't realize that was that loud, bro. That's amazing. They definitely be hearing me. Sometimes I'll be like, can they even hear me over all the riffraff? But they can hear me. That's dope.
Is puberty. Do you understand that?
No problem, bro. Yeah, you're 100%
Okay,
right.
bring us a source that states that. Do you understand that?
You understand that? She got cooked. Now she wants
So Adam, go to chapter 2, verse
Okay, pull up
228 of the Quran.
Chapter 4, verse 6, Adam. Come on, Adam.
Yeah, no problem. Yeah, no problem. Before that, Doc, this is also Tafsir al-Qurtubi, who is accepted among 99% of Sunnis. واللائي لم يحضن يعني الصغار اللائي لم يحضن فعدتهن أيضا 3 أشهر. What does that sentence in Arabic that I just said mean?
So I've already said that young does not mean prepubescent. I don't know how many times that. The word young does not mean prepubescent.
Again, and this is where I ask you again because you're dense. Do you think that a girl who has not menstruated yet is fit for marriage and consummation of the marriage? Yes or no?
My answer still applies that I answered 20 minutes ago. That it depends on the scenario.
Thank you.
Yes.
I'm done with this guy. What do you want?
You're done. Yes. This guy doesn't want women with amenorrhea to get married.
This guy's defending pedophilia. Like I'm.
Listen, I want. Let me hold on. Guys, I was quiet for 2 hours.
Okay, hold on. Now put up the tafsir. Put up the tafsir, Adam. Adam, be a man of your word. Put up the tafsir of 4:6. Be a man of your word, Adam. After you got cooked.
Oh God, this cooked.
He won't do it. He won't do it.
Little kids.
Adam and Sajida. Doc, you're about to get me pissed off, I swear to God.
What's up, Joe?
Here's the bottom line that you guys miss. This dude over here have to lie on the name of Islam. It doesn't matter how many proofs we're gonna give him.
Where's the lie?
He will have to lie. He will have to lie. Shut up!
Where's the lie?
They try to scream like me.
On the name of
Scream
Islam.
like me. That's me.
He knows that the prophet
I
is a
feel like a
prophet.
fucking
He
kindergarten
knows
teacher
that
over here.
Listen,
I own you.
let me explain you again.
He didn't
Let me
own
explain
shit,
you
bro.
again.
So happy
He has
Sajida
to
came up
lie.
with that dumbass circular reasoning.
It actually isn't.
cooked her.
No, you cooked
You have
yourself.
to lie.
It's recorded.
And that's all you have.
Is this showtime coming up or no?
If chapter 4, verse 6 is all you have to tell me that Allah doesn't allow Muslim men to consummate marriages with prepubescent girls, then you're in trouble, bro. You should be able to bring me up source after source after source after source to shut me up. But ever since I started talking about how Islam allows marriage to prepubescent girls, none of you, not even on your Dawa side of TikTok, not on the pro-Palestinian side of TikTok, has been able to shut me down or prove you wrong. None of you promised me sources since summertime. Since summertime. I still have not gotten the sources that you promised me.
Show me one verse in the Bible. You can't. Show me one verse in the Bible.
1 Corinthians chapter 7, verse 32.
Show me one verse in the Bible that says you
Paul
can't.
says that you marry son.
So first of all, she brought up a hadith that said from Sunan Abu Dawud that said that orphans are no longer orphans once they reach puberty. On the verse that I'm talking about in chapter 4, verse 6, pretty much says the same thing. When do you give the inheritance to a orphan? when they're no longer a child. When are they no longer a child? When they reach the marriageable age. It says it in the verse, marriageable age. And if you go to Tafsir Ibn Kathir, it says, what is the marriageable age? It says this is talking about puberty. By the way, this isn't enough. In Islam, puberty isn't enough to get married. You need to have sound judgment. You need to have consent. You can't do harm. And you also need your dad's consent. So no dad is going to consent to their child being in a PDF relationship. This is the stuff they won't tell you. There's multiple criteria. The reason I bring it up, she says, why do you bring up 4:6? It's talking about orphan inheritance. I'll tell you why I'm bringing it up. Because in order to understand divorce, you need to understand marriage. You understand how that works? So you need to understand the rules of marriage first, because who gets a divorce can only happen to who's getting married. So you need to understand who can get married before you can understand who can get a divorce. And who can get married in Islam is somebody who reaches puberty. Now, can you reach puberty and not have your menses? Yes, it's called amenorrhea. So this verse 65:4 is talking about that. I literally cooked you on in under a minute. First of all. Second of all, she says, if it's under puberty, you're not allowed to get married. There should be verse after verse after verse. I challenge her. Show me verse after verse after verse in your Bible that talks about not being able to get consummated your marriage before puberty. Show it to me. Instead, I will show you a verse. I will show you a verse. I can't remember. Like, hold on. I'll actually pull up the source right now. A verse that says, when I saw your naked body and you had breast enlargement, which is stage 1 of puberty, before having your menses, then you were ready for love. You want me to quote that? Hold on. Let me show you the source on that. I cooked the shit out of y'all. All of you. Actually, it's embarrassing. Well, you're embarrassing. You're all embarrassing. Damn. I fucking love that video, bro. Wow. That was amazing, bro. How can we make that viral? Guys, go share that video, bro. Everybody share that video, y'all. Red Flag is out here cooking, bro, with the... Ask the Red Flag. Red Flag, she's right here. Guys, pin her a comment. Pin her a comment so everybody can share the video. The problem is I can't go on my main. Oh my god, bro. That was amazing. Dumb dot, Jake. Okay, guys, everybody go do that. Go. Is it better or no? It seems alright. Okay, alright guys, thank y'all for listening to my story, bro. That was my story. I got nothing else for y'all. Unless an Islamophobe wants to come to my live and get cooked. They don't come to me, dog. That's the only problem. I gotta go over there and drag them. I gotta go over there and drag 10 of them at the same fucking time. Wallah, it's annoying. Like, they won't come. If they came here, it wouldn't even be fair, bro. If I had control over giving myself... Look at Sajida, coward. I dragged you, Sajida. I dragged you. Wallah, I dragged you. And you know it. And you was watching on a burner just to see what I would think. Wallah, you were. You were watching on a burner because you just walked in and you somehow commented right away. You knew what I was talking about because you knew you got dragged. You was watching on a burner. Go look at Esther Red Flag. You got dragged. You thought you could with that hadith, but it ended up working against you. That's sad. I challenge you to debate any day, anytime. Y'all all heard it. I challenge her to debate any day, anytime. I challenge her right now. Y'all hear me loud and clear. Sajid is in the chat. Somebody record it. Somebody record. Yes, As Sadat is challenging Sajinda right now to a debate anytime, anywhere. Y'all swear Islam. No. Why would I kick you? I already cooked you. Why would I need to kick you? I would love to get more content. Why would I let you mute me? She's such look. She got excuses for days, dog. That's what did I say? You didn't cook anything. I did. No, I did. You know I did. That's why you came in here. You came in here because look, when somebody gets cooked. Oh, what's up?
What's up? Yeah, go ahead.
Can you hear me? There's a lot of background noise. It's not me, it's you.
Guys, can y'all hear or no?
I can hear you now.
Can you guys hear or no? Okay, go ahead.
All right, hold on
How
one
did you
second.
not get cooked?
Hold on one second.
Go ahead. How did you not get cooked? Answer that. That'd be the. Oh, she shared a live. She got to get recruit.
No,
Oh,
of
you can
course.
bring. You can.
I
I'll
got
fill my
fans.
panel.
Doc, you got
Wallah,
fans,
I'll
I
fill
got
my
fans.
panel up 8 versus 1. I will fill my panel up with 8 of you. I swear, as long
Why?
as I can
Why do you
control
need
that.
to
I
fill
can.
up
When
the
I'm gonna
panel?
talk,
Wait,
I said I
do I
will
have an
fill it up
echo?
with 8.
Hold on. Hello?
I need to fill up the panel because one of you cannot go head to head with me,
I'm not afraid of you.
dude. You need help.
No, the
Like
only reason
not.
why I don't like coming up on the Muslim lives is because you guys block and mute and drop people. But you don't do
Nobody.
that as much as others do. Like you
Nobody
can
does.
handle somebody. Nobody does. Have you seen how the Dawa boys act? Oh my God,
Hey,
they're
dude,
always
I don't want to talk
blocking
about. I don't want to talk.
and
I'm not
muting.
talking about nobody else on my live, dude. You want to debate this? Debate this. Prove to me.
Talking about anybody else on your live? Listen, I got hours of screen recordings of you bullying me. You love bullying girls,
Bro,
don't you?
like, are you? I'm not, dude. Tell your diary, bro. Why are you over here telling me this shit?
I'm telling
Like,
you to
go.
your face. You're
Let's
a
talk about
bully.
the subject.
We
Okay,
can.
cool.
Let's go. Chapter 65, verse 4 in the Quran. So before your minions blocked the live, this is what I wanted to talk to you about, right? Chapter 2. I like to use Quran.com because it has the Arabic and the English, and I could put my cursor over the Arabic words to make sure that the English translation is correct. So that's the source that I'll be using. If you have a problem with it, you could use another one of your
Chapter
sources.
2. What verse?
Chapter 2, verse 228.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm going to read it for you.
I know that this is about Idda. Okay.
Yeah. So divorced women must wait 3 monthly cycles before they can remarry. It is not lawful for them to conceal what Allah has created in their wombs. If they truly believe in Allah on the last day, and their husbands reserve the right to take them back within that period if they desire reconciliation. Women have rights similar to those of men, although men have a degree of responsibility above them, and Allah is almighty, all-wise, whatever. So this is obviously talking about iddah. I think this is a very beautiful practice when it's just kept within adults because you have to know the paternity of the father. And this is what protects that, right? So she cannot remarry until 3 menstrual cycles. So once she gets divorced, she has to wait 3 menstrual cycles in order for her to get remarried. Okay. Yeah. So we understand what an iddah is. We understand what chapter 2, verse 228 means.
Yeah, go ahead.
Now let's go to chapter 33. Verse 49.
I already know this verse, dude. Just.
Yeah, I know. I'm just proving my point to you. Like you don't have to get all.
I'm not getting. I'm saying that we don't have to go down this field trip. Like,
No,
okay.
I want to though. I want to though.
Chapter 2.
I want to though.
Okay.
No, now we're at chapter 33, verse 49.
Yeah.
Okay, it says, "O believers, if you marry believing women and then divorce them before you touch them, they will have no waiting period for you to count. So give them suitable compensation and let them go graciously." So basically, if the marriage has not been consummated, there is no iddah because there's no paternity and no child to protect, right? Okay. So now we have to go to, I want to go to altafsir.com. I like altafsir.com because it gives you the asbab an-nuzul, and I know you know what that is. The asbab an-nuzul is the history of what was going on around Muhammad and his people at the time that he received a revelation, or the people had a question. So when we go and read the asbab
Do you know
an-nuzul,
when the Asbab Nuzul was written? The first one ever. Because there's several. Do you know when the first one was written? You don't.
I'm sure just like the hadiths, hundreds of years after Muhammad.
No, more like 1,000. But
Okay, so I'm using Al-Wahidi, which is also in many tafsirs that are important in the Islamic world. chapter 65, verse 4, the reason for revelation. It says, "And such of your women as despair of menstruation," said Muqatil, when the verse, "Women who are divorced shall wait, keep themselves apart." Khalid ibn al-Numan ibn Qais, I'm going to skip through some of the names. "O Messenger of Allah, what is the waiting period of the woman who does not menstruate and the woman who has not menstruated yet? And what is the waiting period of the pregnant woman?" And so Allah, exalted is He, revealed the verse. Abu Ushaq al-Muqri informed, so many names, so many names, so many names. When the waiting period for divorced and widowed women was mentioned in Surah Al-Baqarah, Ubay ibn Ka'b said, "O Messenger of Allah, some women of Medina are saying, there are other women who have not been mentioned." He asked them, "And who are they?" He said, "Those who are too young, such that they have not menstruated yet, those who are too old, whose menstruation has stopped, and those who are pregnant." And so this verse was revealed. So now let's go and read chapter 65, 4. Now we understand why the verse was revealed. And it makes sense because in chapter 2, Allah speaks about women that get their menstrual cycles regularly. In chapter 33, verse 49, Allah says that if the marriage is not consummated, there's no iddah. So the women in Medina were confused. So we go to chapter 65, verse 4, which is Surah Talaq, and I'm sure you know that means divorce. It says, "As for your women past the age of menstruation, in case you do not know, their waiting period is 3 months, and those who have not menstruated as well. As for those who are pregnant, their waiting period ends with delivery." Okay, so we're going to go to tafsir. And we have so many different tafsir. So it depends on which scholar you like, what madhab you are. We can go into fiqh, but that's basically the gist of it in the Quran. That's using the Quran. And we can go to the tafsir, like I said, so that we can understand it.
Okay, are you done?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, so guys, basically she said this in in Surah Al-Baqarah, there's a verse that says that the iddah is three menstrual cycles. So pretty much all women other than the exceptions, okay? And then she also said in chapter 33, I think it's Surah Al-Ahzab, that there's no purpose in a iddah if you didn't have intercourse, because why would you need iddah if you didn't have intercourse? Then there's no chance of pregnancy. And then she said in 65:4, which is called al talaq, which is the divorce, it says that it gives the exceptions to Surah Al-Baqarah, and those exceptions are the women who don't have their menstrual cycle, women who are pregnant, they're not going to have a menstrual cycle, and then women who are past their cycle years, like menopause. And if you go to the tafsir, it says that it's speaking about the girls that are young. So
Well,
let
who's
me,
tafsir? Because I like to look things up.
if you
I
go
like
to
to learn while we're
if you
discussing.
go to any tafsir, it says that it's
Mm-hmm.
talking about the girls that are young. So my argument to her is very, very simple, that you can't get a divorce if you can't get married. And from an Islamic perspective, we know that you can't get married before puberty. And my evidence for that was Surah An-Nisa verse 6, where it says, "Test the orphans until you reach the marriageable age." And if you go to the tafsir of what is marriageable age, right? Because it literally says, "Hatta إذا بلغوا النكاح," which is nikah is marriage, right? So if you look at what is the marriageable age in the tafsir, and all of the Sahabi, when asked, said it is puberty. So you can't get married before puberty in Islam because that is the marriageable age. Now, I just want to even think about this logically. Let's say that that verse didn't exist that said that you can't get married without reaching puberty. Let's just say it didn't exist. What is the purpose of a iddah, ladies and gentlemen? Tell me in the chat, what do you think the purpose is? The purpose is so that you can make sure you're not pregnant,
You're a
right?
doctor, right?
Did I interrupt you?
No, you didn't, but you're a doctor, right?
But yes, I am.
Doc.
But yes, I am. But did I
So
interrupt you?
alhamdulillah, you're a doctor. So you
No,
understand
no, no,
that
no,
girls...
no, no, no. I didn't interrupt you, dude. You monologued. I didn't interrupt you. Let me finish. This is not Captain Khara's live.
Okay, okay.
Okay. So let me say, what is the purpose of an iddah? I want y'all to think about this logically, in case you didn't know anything else about any other verses in the Quran. The purpose of an iddah is to make sure you're not pregnant. Can you get pregnant without a menses? Like, can somebody who is prepubescent get pregnant? Can
I
somebody
mean,
before puberty get pregnant
can
anyway?
I answer the question?
Hold on one second, bro. I'm focusing on my chat. Give me, well, I swear I'm gonna give you like an extra 5 minutes, probably. So then she tried to come to me and say that chapter 4, verse 6, the one about the marriageable age, has nothing to do with marriage. That's what she claimed. She said this is about orphans. It's not about marriage. This is her argument, right? And she said that, and then she brought a hadith from Sunan Abu Dawood that said that you're not even considered an orphan unless you're prepubescent. So if the verse mentioned orphans, then they must be prepubescent. That's what she's saying. But the thing is, she doesn't understand the Arabic. Okay, so I'm going to pull it up for you. Chapter 4, verse 6. Okay, Quran. And it says, Hatta ida balagun nikah. Nikah literally means marriage. So there's no arguing possible that can tell me that this is not saying marriageable age. So if you go to tafsir, okay, and you ask, what is the marriageable age? What is it? Because it just says marriageable age. It doesn't say puberty. It doesn't say that. It just says marriageable age. If you go to the okay, so and test orphans, meaning test their intelligence, as Ibn Abbas, Mujahid, Al-Hasan, Al-Sudi, and Muqatil bin Hayyan, the same gentleman she was trying to quote earlier, stated that until they reach the age of marriage is the age of puberty. The age of puberty, according to the majority of scholars, comes when a child has a wet dream. In his Sunan, Abu Dawood recorded that Ali said, I memorized these words from the Prophet. He memorized the words from the Prophet. And then it goes on to say there is no orphan after the age of puberty. So this is literally telling you that once you hit puberty, you're no longer an orphan and you're no longer a child. This is the Islamic notion. And then also in the ayah itself, it says that you have to test them until they show competence and sound judgment. Okay, go ahead, Sajid.
Okay, thank you. I really appreciate that explanation. So here's my issue with what you're saying, okay? Is because the sources that you're bringing me, which they're fine. I mean, I'm happy that you're against child marriage, but that's not what Islam says, right? So when you go to the Asbab an-Nuzul for chapter 4, verse 6, it says that this was revealed about Thabit ibn Rafaya and his uncle. When Rafaya died, when his son Thabit was very young, the uncle of Thabit went to the messenger of Allah, Allah bless him and give him peace, and said, the son of my brother is an orphan under my care. What is lawful for me from his wealth? And when should I give him back his wealth? And so Allah, exalted is He, revealed this verse. So I think this is a beautiful verse. Why? Because it's taking care of the orphan. It's making sure that the person who's managing his or her finances isn't stealing anything, and it's pretty much explaining if that person who's handling the finances should take a cut for himself for managing it or not. I mean, it doesn't really say when a young girl should be married. Now, all four schools of thought under the Sunni sect, and of course in the Jafari and other sects in Shia, but you're not Shia, so we don't have to discuss that. All say that a father or guardian, like wakil, has the right to give a prepubescent girl away to marriage, right? The only time that a female has consent with getting married is if she's like past puberty, considered mature, like, or she's been married before and she's no longer a virgin. So a father or a guardian has the right to give their daughter away to
Can you say
marriage.
that point one more time? You said the only time a girl needs to give consent is when?
Islamically, when she has consent is when she's considered
Not
like
a virgin.
past puberty or like 15, right?
You said not a virgin.
Or married before, like she's not a virgin. Like let's say somebody was married and she got divorced and she wants to get remarried, she can say yes or no herself. But before that, her father has the authority to give her away into marriage. And I'll read you some sources if you'd
I
like.
believe you. Can I respond?
Yeah. Wait, hold on one second. So, I don't know. Are you what madhab do you follow?
Don't. I mean, that doesn't matter, dude. Just let's keep on with it. Forget me. Can I respond?
You can go ahead and respond. I just wanted
Okay.
to read
All right.
sources from your madhab, but I'll read from all of them,
No,
no
I believe
problem.
you. I believe you. I've read them. So there's a big difference, ladies and gentlemen, between marriage contract and consummating marriage. What she's talking about is a marriage contract. So as a dad, you have the right to put your daughter in a marriage contract even before your daughter is born. You understand that? But in order to consummate the marriage, you need to meet the criteria. And the criteria is you must have reached the age of puberty. You yourself must have give consent. The girl has to give consent. So she's lying about the fact that only non-virgins, because there's a hadith from Bukhari, Sahih Bukhari, and it's actually 6946 that says, I asked, and this is Aisha, I asked the Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, should women be asked for their consent to marriage? He said, yes. I said, a virgin, if asked, feels shy. And it was the custom at that time where younger girls or
Her
girls,
consent is silence.
okay, feels or they consent is silence understood at that time. That was the norm at that time. It said a virgin if asked feels shy and keeps quiet. He said her silence means her consent. So this is very important that when you tie the fact that they need consent to their fathers have to agree to this. You have to understand your father is your wali, your guardian, and you cannot get married to a girl without her father's approval. So telling me that some father is going to give his daughter off into marriage that isn't ready for marriage is like a father basically harming his daughter, putting his daughter into harm. Number three, you cannot do harm in Islam. This is just a overarching rule. And then on top of that, we've already said that marriageable age equals puberty. Nikah is consummating marriage, and that you need to be puberty. So I'm pretty sure you really aren't giving me anything here to
I'm
work with.
going to right now. And I would appreciate if you did not call me a liar. I don't know why you guys act the way that you do.
But on
You
that, you
act
did
like
lie.
I'm the
I
one that
even,
made these websites. I'm the one
even
that
asked you. I asked you
translated.
twice. I asked you twice. I
Okay, so
said,
let's go. Again, like my point before, the majority of scholars, namely the Hanafi, Maliki, and Hanbali, consider the approval of the bride and groom who reached puberty one of the conditions of marriage contract. Yes, who've reached puberty. However, the approval of the bride and groom, if either of them has not reached puberty, and these are the approval list. Hold on. So, approval of the groom who has not reached puberty. The four madhabs agree that the father may wed his son who has not reached puberty to the bride without his permission. Approval of the bride who has not reached puberty. Ruling on the father who is marrying off his virgin daughter who has not reached puberty to the groom. The four madhabs agree that the father has the right to marry his virgin daughter who has not reached puberty without her permission. Ruling on the guardian, other than the father marrying off his ward who has not reached puberty, the guardian, other than the father, may marry off virgin female wards who has not reached puberty. Okay, now let's go into consummation because you said something very interesting. You said that there's a difference, and I get that because we have that in Christianity. We have betrothal, which is
Okay.
engagement, and then we have a marriage, which is consummated. So yeah, I agree with that. However, let me get to my point. Hold on.
So I just want to say for the
Yeah,
record,
sure. Go ahead.
you just said puberty, that marriage is at puberty. You said the four madhabs agree that marriage is at puberty. And
No,
then
I
you
said the approval of the bride and groom who reach puberty, which means that when you've reached puberty,
they give
right? Or if
consent.
you've been married
And
before,
that
you
they
can give your own
themselves,
approval. Yes.
that they themselves need to give consent.
Yeah, because you're considered grown and you've been married before, so you have the authority to do that. But when it comes to being before puberty, you don't need consent, boy or girl, doesn't
For
matter.
marriage, not for consummation.
Okay, let's go to the
You
next. Let me
cannot
just get my.
consummate a marriage pre-puberty. You can't.
Okay, we're gonna get to those right now. Just bear with me one moment. Just gotta pull up my sources. Here we go. Okay, so this what brings me to my point, because in Shia Islam there is a minimum age for consummation. I'm sure you know it's 9 lunar years, and there are like grand ayatollahs. I'm sure you know about Khomeini and
I don't know.
Khamenei and
Listen,
Sistani.
I don't
Hold on,
follow that.
they talk. It's fine. It's fine. They
So
talk
don't bring it
about.
up, dude. I'm not here. I
No,
don't
I
know
want.
Shia
I want to
theology.
show you. I
I
want to
don't
show.
know Shia theology, so don't bring it up. I don't know it. I'm telling you, I don't know it, so don't bring it up.
Okay, so in Sunni Islam, there's no minimum age of consummation. There's no 9 lunar years or anything like that.
Right. Because it's
So
puberty.
it's no. It's only the only thing. Listen, Doc. The only thing is if she could be able to handle it physically. If she gets a fistula from it, that's not okay. But if she's fat and plump, that's okay. Okay, and
Okay.
I'll go in to explain this to you. So the
Hold on. No,
fact
no,
that
no, no, no. You made a point. You made a point. I've already proven to you from the Quran that marriageable age, balaghun nikah, means puberty.
you
So
didn't prove
anything
that.
you tell me,
Can you
no, I
show me
did.
that? No,
Let me,
how? Where?
bro. What? Okay.
I told you chapter 4, verse 6 is about wealth, not about when to consummate a marriage with a little
Okay.
girl.
Okay. I think you're really having a hard time comprehending this, dude. So, do you know Arabic or no?
I can read it, I don't understand
Wait.
it.
Do you know what nikah means?
Yeah, it means Fucking.
Okay. First of all, it doesn't. It
It
also means
does.
okay. It means two things.
Marriage is like sawaj.
I understand what you're saying, but nikah can mean like what you're talking about in marriage. It ultimately means
What was that
consummate.
little hand movement you made?
Forget all that. Okay. So the point is that this verse
Your
uses the
chat
word.
hates me. I love when you guys hate me, so keep insulting me. I don't care.
Dude, stop, bro. I
But
don't
go
care about
on.
that right now. This verse uses the word nikah. Do you understand that? That's why I'm telling you it has to do with marriage. It doesn't just talk about orphans. It literally says the word nikah in the verse. Do you want me to put it on the green screen for you?
No, I have it right here.
Okay,
I
so read
mean,
it. You said you
I
can read
did.
it.
I read you the reason for revelation and I read you the verse. Did you forget? I'll read it for you
Can I ask you
again.
a question? No, I understand that. Why would it say إِذَا بَلَغُوا النِّكَاحَ? Why would it say that? Like, what can that possibly mean?
Oh, I didn't even realize I was muted. I don't know how that happened. I don't know, but even if I was to go with what you're
No,
saying,
no, no, no.
even
Stop,
if I
stop, stop,
was to
stop.
give you your argument, this is
Yeah.
talking about orphans. And you and I both know that orphans have a different guideline than non-orphans. So it still does not handle what I'm saying. And then at the end of the day, okay, Doc,
No,
what
no,
you're
hold on, hold on, hold
saying
on. No, no,
is
no, no. Because I got to answer your point. We're going to be
sure,
fair,
sure,
bro. You
sure,
can't
sure.
make a point and then go on to.
Sure, sorry. Go
You're
ahead.
fine. Okay. I want to explain this. Okay. If I tell you you can't drink until the age of consent, you're going to ask me what's the age of consent. You understand that? This verse is saying you can't give them their wealth unless they reach the age of marriage. That's why I'm using it to give you an example in the Quran that says there is actually an age of marriage. Because the verse says that. I'm not making it up. You have to read it. It says it there. Test the orphans until they reach the age of marriage, bro. That's why it has to do with marriage. And then when you look at the tafsir, it says, what is this marriageable age? And all of the Sahabi of the Prophet agree it's puberty, meaning that there is no marriage prior to puberty. Do you understand this very simple concept?
So let's look at holding property of the unwise in escrow, right? So this is I like to use Ibn Kathir because it's pretty thorough. So chapter 4, verse 6, it says, Allah prohibited giving the unwise the freedom to do as they wish with wealth, which Allah has made as a means of support for people. So this is all about wealth, and I want
Go
to
on.
find...
No. Keep going. Keep
I
going.
am. Do you want me to read the whole paragraph?
No. Go to the next paragraph.
Okay.
Go to the third paragraph.
Giving back
Where
the property?
Yes, read that. Allah.
Okay, and test the orphans, meaning test their intelligence, as the Ibn Abbas, Mujahid, Al-Hassan, whatever stated, until they reach the age of marriage and the age of puberty, according to
No.
Mujahid.
No, it's defining the age of marriage. It's saying the age of puberty. That's what it's saying.
So it says the age of puberty, according to the majority of the scholars, comes when the child has a wet dream.
Right.
Sunan Abu Dawood recorded that, right? So there is no orphan after the age of puberty. That's what I was telling you before in the other live stream, and you were calling me a liar. There's no orphanhood after puberty, right? So again, this is talking about wet dreams.
Dog, dude,
I'm reading the sources you're giving me. Like I'm getting
no,
like
you I understand you're reading, but you're not comprehending. Okay.
no, I want you to show me explicitly that Islam does not allow marriage to prepubescent, consummating marriages to prepubescent girls. Like I want you to show that to me. Like I'm challenging you because it doesn't exist, but deep down in my heart, yes, I want you to show it to me. But you're having a problem. You're having trouble doing that.
Well, you're gaslighting. This is what gaslighting is called. Anyway, so
I'm gaslighting you.
You gaslighting. I just showed you that the age of marriage is the age of puberty. Do you understand? This is one criteria. You yourself said the four madhabs agree on puberty being a criteria for marriage. Marriage, not like consummating it, can occur before puberty without your knowledge of it. Like you can be not born. I can say, you know what? Armand, he's a friend of mine in the chat. I say, I want my son to marry your unborn daughter whenever you have a daughter. I did that without my son's permission. He's doing it without his unborn daughter's permission.
I don't have a problem with that at all.
Okay,
That's not the issue.
But you can't consummate it unless you meet the criteria, which is puberty, which is consent. I just gave you a hadith that says a virgin girl has to give consent. How can she give consent if she's not even mature enough to understand?
Her father.
No,
let me read for you.
No, dude, stop.
I want to go to Shahr Muslim.
I'm giving you a hadith from Bukhari that says a virgin has to herself give consent.
Which is a silent. Her father is her speaker. Her father is her wali.
If you disagree...
Are you disagreeing that a father is allowed to give away a prepubescent daughter into marriage? Are you disagreeing with this?
He cannot actually hand her over. He can agree to a contract that is imaginary in nature until they reach the age of consent.
Okay, I want you to debunk these sources for me. Let me just read it for you. Just debunk them for me. Like, prove them wrong. Please, I beg of you. So the fact that it is permissible to marry a young girl does not mean that it is permissible to have intercourse with her. And I'll read that to you again. The fact that it is permissible to marry a young girl does not mean that it is permissible to have intercourse with her. Rather, that should not be done until she's able for it. For that reason, the Prophet delayed the consummation of his marriage to Aisha. Al-Nawawi said, with regard to the wedding party of a young married girl at the time of consummating the marriage, if the husband and the guardian of the girl agree upon something that will not cause harm to the young girl, then that may be done. If they disagree, then Ahmed and Abu Ubaid say that once the girl reaches the age of 9, then the marriage may be consummated even without her consent. But that does not apply in the case of who is younger. Malik, Al-Shafi'i, and Abu Hanifa said the marriage may be consummated when the girl is able for intercourse, meaning physically can handle the penetration, which varies from one girl to another, so no age limit can be set. This is the correct view. There is nothing in the hadith of Aisha to set an age limit or to forbid.
You literally just debunked yourself.
I didn't.
Three madhabs.
How did I debunk myself? It says marriage may be consummated even without her consent. Meaning if the husband and the father disagree and the father is saying she's still too young for consummation, the husband under Islamic law has a right, once she's 9 years old, to take her and consummate the marriage even without her consent. Come on. You guys act like I'm making this shit up. You think I wanted to learn all this and find this out?
You are, and let me tell you
How
why
am I
you are
making this up? I will give you the websites. I'll give you the sources. Maliki, I'm making up Maliki and Hanafi. Al-Shafi'i, what do you think? I'm sitting here making up Islamic websites?
You're gonna force me to mute you, and I'm not trying to do that. Okay, hold on. You
Fine.
said it yourself that somebody said that you can force the marriage at 9, but Maliki, Shafi'i, and Hanbali, which are 3 major schools of thought, are saying that you can't do that. And this is the correct view. Did you not hear what you just read?
No, that's not what it's saying. That's not what it's saying at all. And I'll go into more detail. Let's go to the. Let's go to each. Yeah, I'll read it again. If they disagree, then Ahmed and Abu Ubaid say the girl reaches the age of 9, then the marriage may be consummated even without her consent. But that does not apply in the case of who is younger. So anyone who is younger, like if you want to consummate it, you have to wait until she's 9. Al-Shafi'i, Malik, Al-Shafi'i, Abu Hanifa said the marriage may be consummated when the girl is able for intercourse. So it doesn't even mean 9. If she's 7 and she can handle the penetration, it's fine. Able, like physically able, which varies from one girl to another, so no age limit can be set. So Maliki, Al-Shafi'i, and Hanafi are on the same page saying that they can't give a minimum age for consummation because every girl is different.
You're wrong. And I'll tell you why you're wrong. Because Maliki, Shafi'i, and Hanbali are not giving you an age. And this is the correct view. This is the correct view. Because we know that you have to meet the criteria, which are puberty. And you cannot do harm. They're literally telling you it cannot cause harm. You cannot consummate a marriage if it's going to cause harm. And that includes mental harm, trauma, or physical harm. This is what they're telling you, and you're just not reading it.
Is that the hard line? Is that like the line right there? Is that what that means?
What do you mean?
Like they have to wait for all these conditions in order for a girl to be married off?
Yes.
Are you sure about that?
That's what it's saying, dude.
Okay, so here's the thing with Al-Shafi'i. Okay, he doesn't stand 10 toes down on a position where he's saying, oh, it's okay, it's no problem, right? But he's also not saying that it's absolutely not allowed, because he says that it is preferable. Listen, it is preferable for fathers and grandfathers not to marry off a virgin until she reaches the age of puberty and they ask her permission, because once a girl hits puberty, then she can give consent on her own. Before then, it's the guardians that speak for her, lest she end up in a marriage that she dislikes. What they said does not go against the hadith of Aisha, because what they meant is that they should not marry her off before she reaches puberty. If there's no obvious interest to be served that they will fear will be missed out on if they delay it, as in the hadith of Aisha. In that case, it is preferable to go ahead with the marriage because the father is enjoined to take care of his child's interests. So if she's going to miss an opportunity of a husband, then you can marry her off and none of this matters. But Al-Shafi'i is saying it's better if you wait until she hits puberty. But that's not a must. It's not like a hard line like you must wait.
This is talking about a marriage contract. This part right here is talking about a marriage contract. It's basically saying, instead of these marriage contracts that you do, that the girl ends up having to consent for anyway, it's not smart to do them. This is about marriage contract. This isn't about penetration. This is about marriage contract. You understand that? They've already explained that when it comes to consummating the marriage, it cannot be doing any harm. They've already explained that.
Yeah, physical harm.
Or no, it says
So
any
she does.
harm. It
Okay,
says
so can
any
you
harm.
tell me where any time in Islam a female's mental and emotional health takes precedence over anything else?
Wait, what?
Okay, give me a source that talks about mental and emotional health of a woman, please. Or a little girl in this case. I want to read it.
I don't understand what your question is, to be honest
I'm
with you.
talking about physical harm. There are rulings, right, about fistulas, where if a man, okay, consummates the marriage and the little girl has a fistula, there's a price for her to pay, for him to pay for damaging her like that. So it does talk about physical pain, right? That's 100%. And I don't deny that. And I'll give you that. No one is like saying that these little girls need to be purposely harmed, but unfortunately in the process they are. But nothing from what I've seen so far, and I hope that you can correct me, states that the mental and physical harm is also very important. The only thing that's really focused on is physical. That's it. It's just physical.
Okay, but it says any harm, dude. So I don't know.
Where? Can you show me where?
Yeah, I mean, there's a bunch of hadith that say do
I
not
would,
do harm, dude. I mean, you literally want me to pull up a hadith that says do no harm.
no, because the hadiths, like they you can find opposing in everything. You want to talk about, what do you want to talk
Listen,
about?
let me
If the Bible is corrupted, what do you want to talk about? Wife beating, sex slaves. Like, you'll find one that'll be for your position and one that'll be for my position. The hadith is the hardest thing to use when it comes to that, because there's
It's not
always
true. There's
conflicting. It
no.
is.
Bro, I will challenge you on any hadith regarding any
Okay, for
slavery.
example,
Well,
in
hold
one
on, hold on, hold on.
hadith,
No, 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 no,
Muhammad
no, no, no.
says,
Stop. I want to summarize what we've talked about so far, okay? Number one, we've summarized that in the Quran, it literally says that there is such thing as a marriageable age. And when you go to the tafsir, this age is defined at the bare minimum as puberty. And
no, it says wet dream, because the verse is talking about a boy.
okay, so first of all, even if this particular thing says puberty, ejaculation is puberty, by the way. It's even past puberty, by the way. Ejaculation is past puberty, by the way. You know there's stages to puberty,
Past
right?
puberty? Yeah, 5 Tanner stages.
Very good job. Yeah. Stages. So in for a girl, there's you think I don't want to use clear terms, but any type of fluid is not going to be in the first stage. Let's just say
Yeah.
that.
Okay, and thanks for reminding me, because you did say something that was incorrect earlier. So you know what menarche is, right? I mean,
Yeah.
I don't get uncomfortable speaking about this. It's natural. Menarche is when a girl gets her first menstrual cycle. Before a little girl goes into menarche, what happens? The egg has to drop first, aka drop, just to simplify things, right? Okay. If that egg is conceived, she can, in fact, get pregnant before actually getting a menstrual cycle. It's possible. It happens all the time in Sudan, in Somalia.
That wasn't my point. My
No, but
point
you said a
wasn't.
girl cannot get pregnant before she gets her period, and that's
I didn't say
false.
that.
Do you
I
know
didn't
little
say that.
girls, when
I
they get
didn't say that.
abused,
I didn't say that.
essayed?
I said before puberty. I didn't say before menstrual cycle. I said before
Okay, because
puberty.
they can get it as little girls. Little girls can get pregnant, and it destroys them.
No. First of all, yes, of course. I mean, you can never have a menstrual cycle and then all of a sudden drop an egg and then get pregnant.
That happens all the time.
Yeah. Okay. Anyway, so we did say marriageable age equals puberty. We did say that the ulama don't put a specific age on it because it does vary from different people. They do say to make sure the girl is basically physically mature, and they use the word plump, by the way, and plump, which it doesn't mean fat, because that's what you want it to mean, but that's not what it means. It means plump, meaning your secondary characteristics of puberty are showing, like certain type of enlargements. This is plump. And that basically this is a part of the process. A woman has to be plump, meaning that she has to be going through those stages. Guys, I'm trying to use TikTok friendly language, so it's hard for me. But basically, puberty, they cannot do harm. A father has to co-sign all of this. So you're telling me your father is going to co-sign PDF? Like, imagine that. What world do y'all live in? Maybe in the West, but not anywhere else does this happen, by the way.
It does, though. It happens all around the Islamic world. It happens all over the world, first of all. Let's not just make this a Muslim issue. This happens all over the world, and it's horrifying, okay? But that's the thing that bothers me, right? Is when you say that this is an idea that plagues like Islamic countries because that's culture, that's wrong, number one. You think all these classical scholars, these modern scholars, these sheikhs, these countries, these people, the fiqh books, all of it just came up with this narrative out of nowhere?
I think this is what I think. I think that
Or is it because of me that
let me
Iraq lowered its marriage age to 9?
let me
Or is it
answer.
because of me that little girls
Listen,
get married off into Sudan and they get pregnant when they're little, and when they have babies, they tear so bad that they're completely incontinent.
okay, I
Bowel
understand that you're
warriors.
passionate. I understand that you're passionate about this topic, and I can respect that. Okay, because it sounds like you really do not want this to be, true, and you want to be here for women's rights, and I can respect that. But I want to say a couple things. So, age is not a thing in Islam because age doesn't tell a person's full story, right? Like you can be somebody with extreme cognitive delay where you're literally non-verbal. Like there are people who make it until their 20s, 30s, and they're non-verbal. They've never spoken a word. They have very severe cognitive delay. They're bedbound. This person should not be having consummated a marriage with, right? So if you put an age on something, you're going to have a lot of issues with exceptions to the rule, right? Like should and Muhammad Hajjab actually used this example. I'm not using it from myself, but it makes sense. Like should a 100-year-old frail woman be in bed with a 25-year-old like football player? And the answer is no, right? So in Islam, we look at things as a whole picture, and do no harm is a very important feature of that. And also, consent is an important feature, right? You can't give consent if you're cognitively delayed. So there's a lot of things you have to look at. The reason why Islam doesn't use a specific age, and neither does your religion, by the way. Your religion, the Bible, doesn't use a specific age, and neither does Judaism. Actually, I don't know. Some people say in Judaism there's like an age of 3 that some rabbis go by, some rabbis don't, to be fair, but that's not in Islam. We don't have a specific age. We have criteria, and there's several criteria, and you have to fulfill all the criteria before you can consummate a marriage. So I just want to make sure that we're clear on that, dude, because I don't care if you think 65-4 is talking about prepubescent girls. I'm telling you, prepubescent girls can't consummate a marriage, and so it can't possibly apply to them. But because the Quran is a timeless book, it's actually for all generations. Then yes, you're going to come to 2025 based on certain levels of hormones and chemicals or whatever. There's a lot of women with amenorrhea. They don't have a period ever. And Islam addressed this 1500 years ago. 1500 years ago, it said if she doesn't ever have her period, then you still should wait 3 months. That's what it's saying. It's not saying prepubescent girls. You're adding that in there because you want to demonize Islam. And it doesn't work, by the way. Multiple people have heard these things before and they don't really buy it. But anyway, is there another hadith you'd like me to clear up for you? Because
I mean, why would I want to demonize Islam? Now that you're just taking it personal and you're getting emotional. But what I'd like for you
Not
to
at all.
do is clarify for me this little argument that Muhammad Hijab brought. I get it. Okay, 25-year-old football player with a 100-year-old lady. But the specific quote, the specific angle that he took came from a specific debate that he had at Speaker's Corner with Quran-only Muslims. And he was debating, right? He was debating what? That if you are Quran only, you're going to have the wrong understanding of Islam. You need the Sunnah to tell you. So you know how when I was reading the four madhabs, and they were saying that she needs to be able to physically handle the penetration because you can't harm her, that came from like the Sunnah, right? So when you have a Quran only Muslim, they're not going to get that part of it, right? So Muhammad Hijab's argument was that if you're Quran only, 65:4 means that you could have intercourse with a 5-year-old because there's nothing telling you that you can't. So his argument to defend the Sunnah or his sect or the Hadith or whatever was being very honest and as a matter of fact about what chapter 65 verse 4 says. But Muhammad Hijab, that might be my fault too. You know, I might have had influence over Muhammad Hijab. I was probably, you know, alive during Ibn Kathir and everyone else too. It's all my fault. I want to lie on Islam and demonize the religion.
Sajida, I don't know exactly what you just meant by your point, but
Do you want me to play the video for you?
No,
Can
I'm
I
just saying,
play
if
Muhammad
Muhammad-
Hijab's video?
If Muhammad Hijab said that, then he's completely unaware, which I highly doubt that.
So
he's
can I
gonna-
play it for you so that you
No,
don't
no,
call
no,
me a
no.
liar?
I'm not here to defend Muhammad Hijab, bro.
No, but I want you to. I'm using the
My
same.
point is that I use the Quran to show you that there is a marriageable age. It literally uses the word nikah, which literally means marriage, which literally says test the orphans until they reach the marriageable age. And we've already discussed that the tafsir calls this marriageable age puberty. But anyway, can we move on? Because I honestly think this is overdone. This is an overdone conversation.
No,
You're
I
gonna
just think that.
walk away completely unconvinced, and I'm okay with that. There's 224 people here. They can make their own decision. But I feel like I presented it well. I feel like you're really grasping at straws, and that's okay. I'm not saying it's a bad thing.
How am I grasping at straws when I've just been
Because you're
reading
not-
from your scholars?
Because I'm telling you, I'm giving you facts in like actual ayahs, and you're having a hard time understanding that it literally says marriageable age, and you go to the tafsir and it says puberty.
So the only thing that you brought me, right, to, I guess, prove me wrong was chapter 4, verse 6, which is highly debatable and speaks about an
No, it's
orphan's
not debatable,
wealth
though.
for a
Why are you
man,
calling it
for a man,
debatable? Why are you
because
calling
it's about wealth. It's
No,
about an orphan's money.
okay, I understand what you're saying, I do, but it doesn't make any sense. It's like you're thinking.
What do you mean it doesn't make any sense?
You're
Allah is
thinking
telling
in one
people how to
way,
treat orphans. How are you going to say that doesn't make sense?
You're thinking in one dimension, dude. I'm over here in like the string theory, and you're thinking about one dimension. I'm gonna try to make an example for you. If I say that you cannot be my friend until you reach the drinking age, and you'll ask, what is the drinking age? And you'll say, oh, it's 21. So I can't be your friend until you're 21. That's why it's relevant to the conversation. So this verse is saying you cannot give orphans their money until they reach the marriage age. So it exists. It's telling you that an age for marriage exists. And then it explains and defines the marriage age. It says puberty, meaning that whatever you tell me about prepubescent marriage in Islam, it doesn't exist. Period. Do you understand this now? So you can go sit, not you personally, but all of these Islamophobes, like there's this one big time weirdo. He actually has spaz attacks on the live where he like starts to hit the screen and shit. And he can sit there and talk about 65 for 65 years. And it isn't going to change a fucking thing. Go ahead.
Okay, so just so that you know what it sounds like when you scream Islamophobia. First of all, I'm not afraid of Muslims or Islam. I have Muslim family. I don't have hate for Muslims. I obviously left Islam because I have an issue with the doctrine. Okay, it's not the end of the world. But when you scream Islamophobia, like, you know how when you challenge pro-Israelis and they call you anti-Semitic?
Yeah.
Okay, so when someone is challenging your theology and you call them Islamophobic, it's the same thing, dude, and it's not
don't do
a
that.
good look. Because I don't hate you, nor am I afraid of you,
I
or
don't-
any of the people, or
I
any
swear-
of them, even the ones who bullied. I don't have hate in my heart for any of you, or I'm not afraid of any of you. I don't want to demonize you, but it is what it is. So, like, let me
Sajid,
get back to my point.
Sajid, I've never really been rude to you. I was rude to you one time, and that was on a live because you were coming at me, so I came at you too.
No, that's different, right? Because that's happening. We're going back and forth, and you're talking about hurricanes live, and the reason why I was so upset with you it doesn't matter, like, I still don't hate you. I still don't hate you. Was because you literally made your life about me for like 10 days straight. And you know that. You had a backdrop of me. You were calling me a belly dancer. I never danced professionally in my whole entire life. I do belly dancing like Zumba, like working out. And you push this whole narrative. And then a whole bunch of other people were pushing lies on that. Well, I don't even make this about me and I don't even care. Like, I'm over it. But I'm saying you did what you did. Like, you bullied me. And I'm not the only girl you bullied on this app or made fun of publicly in front of hundreds of people.
I do consider myself an intellectual bully, especially when it comes to Islam.
See, look, we agree on something, bro. So let's get back to the topic, okay?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay. So, for example, let's go to, we're kind of tired of tafsir from 65.4, I guess. So, you know, Fath al-Bari, the explanation of Sahih al-Bukhari, narrated by Sahl bin Sa'd. While we were sitting in the company of the Prophet, a woman came to him and presented herself for marriage to him. The Prophet looked at her, lowering his eyes and raising them, but did not give a reply. One of his companions said, "Marry her to me, O Allah, Apostle." The Prophet asked, "Have you got anything?" He said, "I have got nothing." The Prophet said, "Not even an iron ring?" He said, "Not even an iron ring. But I will tear my garment into 2 halves and give her 1 half and keep the other half." Hold on. This one is really long. I don't feel like reading all that. So annoying.
It sounded
These are
like
all
a
pretty.
romance story, actually.
I know. It gets longer.
Okay,
So
go ahead. Are
let's
you
do
bringing a
Sahih
whole?
Bukhari.
Hold on.
This is a short one.
Are you bringing a whole nother debate, like a whole nother question?
No, this is about child marriage. I just needed to choose something shorter. So Sahih Bukhari, volume 7, book 62, hadith number 63. It's the 39th chapter. Giving one's young children in marriage is permissible by virtue of the statement of Allah, and for those who have no monthly courses, they're still mature, and the iddah for young girls. So unfortunately, a lot of these Islamic sources go to 65.4, and I'm trying to find more that doesn't, because I know you're sick of that. But let me give you, again, 65.4.
Listen, Sajida, bro. I think
to face Islam.
Hold on. 1 second, please.
I made it pretty clear that.
No, you didn't, because you didn't answer to me why in the madhabs it talks about why does it say that if the father and husband don't agree, the husband could come take the 9-year-old girl and consummate the marriage even without her consent.
That's first of all, that's not what the madhabs say. There were 3 madhabs that disagreed with that.
That wasn't a disagreement at all.
I'll read
it again. Hold on.
Am I in the Matrix?
I'll read it again. And I'm sure this is screen recorded, buddy. By your side and mine.
I don't think your side's gonna post it. I have a weird feeling they're not gonna post it.
Why would they post it? I don't understand. This is not a competition. I'm just saying it's screen recorded. Okay, let's go. Here we go. I'm going to pull up the same source again because they were not disagreeing. It would have said they were disagreeing if they were.
Bro, it literally said this is the more correct view.
No, it didn't. Hold on, I'll bring it back up.
If they disagreed, I'm gonna need you to publicly apologize for wasting another 3 minutes.
It didn't say anything about disagree at all.
She's waiting on a response from Mecca Khara. I'm dead.
Okay, here we go. I'm going to read that one and then I have more sources. I just had to pull them all up at the same time. So I'm not taking forever. Okay, so it says the fact that it is permissible to marry a young girl a young girl does not mean that it is permissible to have intercourse with her. Rather, that should not be done until she is able for it. Again, physical, being able to handle it physically, nothing about emotional or mental health.
Hold on,
For that
so
reason,
hold on 1 second, Sajida. I just want to make it clear that your source that you brought to me is making a distinction between a marriage contract and consummating, and it's telling you that just because, like, well, I think her sources are cooking her, but she says that just because you can do a marriage contract doesn't mean you can consummate it.
exactly. I never deny. I even said we have the same thing in Christianity. We have betrothal, which is engagement, and then marriage, which is consummation. Right?
Yeah.
I get that. Even societies like ancient times, royal families, that's a thing. I never said that wasn't. But bro, it literally says that if they disagree, then Ahmad and Abu Abaid say that once a girl reaches the age of 9, then the marriage may be consummated even without her consent. But that does not apply in the case of who is younger. That's one sentence.
Okay. Now keep
Then it
reading.
goes on to talking about Maliki, Al-Shafi, and Hanifa said the marriage may be consummated when the girl is able for intercourse. Again, physical, being able to physically handle it. So to you guys, a 9-year-old can physically handle consummation. To me, that's still a little girl. But anyway.
You just keep reading.
Okay, when the girl is able for intercourse, which varies from one girl to another, so no age can be set. This is the correct view. That's it.
So
That sentence does not contradict the one before it.
yes, it does, bro.
How? Tell me how. Please tell me
It
how.
literally does, bro.
Because what would have been better is if they said you are not allowed to take a 9-year-old girl from her father and consummate her marriage without her consent. That would have been disagreeing with the first statement.
Okay, man. I don't know, dude. I think that people can decide for themselves. I think this has been this has been like overdone. This is I don't know what else to tell you. I've given
No, it's
you
been because when I talk to Salafi Muslims, because they stand 10 toes down on their religion and they don't give a shit about what anybody believes, they say, yeah, it's allowed. I'm not going to sugarcoat my beliefs for
what's
you
allowed?
so that you
What's
can be with
allowed?
my religion.
What do the Salafis say is allowed?
Marriage to prepubescent girls, consummating a marriage.
No Salafi says that.
Do you want me to bring you? I mean, I can bring you sources on the internet. Like,
No
I could
Salafi says that.
even Muhammad Hijab.
By the
You
way,
quoted something. You quoted something from Muhammad Hijab, but you don't want me to play the rest of that video where he says, without the Sunnah, the Quran says that you can consummate a marriage with a 5-year-old. Why can't I bring up that part, but you could bring up the part where he says a 25-year-old football player shouldn't be married to a 100-year-old lady? It's okay for you to bring up that part, but not the previous part or the part right after that, right?
I don't know why we're gonna argue about what Muhammad Hijab said when I'm literally telling you about what Allah Azza wa Jal said.
Bro, I didn't even bring him up. You brought him up.
Okay, but the point is that it's in chapter 4, verse 6, and it
Oh
clearly
God,
says,
again with the chapter 4, verse 6. You guys gotten cooked on chapter 4, verse 6 so much. First of all, it's about orphans' wealth, and it's literally specifically talking about a boy. And you could see that in the tafsir because it's talking about a wet dream. Because I'm not saying that it doesn't happen for women, but it's very highly unlikely for little girls to have wet dreams, and it's highly unlikely for that to determine that she's in puberty. For boys, it's natural. It's actually like that has to happen in order for you to be considered going through puberty. Okay, so let's go to let's go to Malik. For Malik, the age of intercourse is again significant due to it determining when a husband must start paying his young wife's maintenance. For Malik, the male age of intercourse was the onset of nocturnal emission, which is what we just said. For females, it is when she had come of age who could tolerate intercourse with men. Tudruk wala tufiq. I know I'm pronouncing that wrong, so I'm not even going to say it. Again, I'll read it for you again. For females, it is when she had come of age and could tolerate intercourse with men. Right? So physical, being able to physically handle it. For Al-Shafi'i, For Al-Shafi, again, consummation is discussed in the context of maintenance payments. A process is envisioned in which he is permitted to visit his wife, and eventually she reaches an age when she could visit him and have intercourse normally occurs. Shafi further implies that intercourse is permitted before the wife has reached puberty, though the husband must from that time pay maintenance even if he chooses to wait longer. So Al-Shafi'i says, again, he says she has to be able to physically handle it, which I'm not denying, because all four madhabs say this. The girl has to be able to physically handle it. Okay, boom. Next point. For So Shafi'i further implies that intercourse is permitted before the wife has reached puberty, though the husband must, from that time, pay maintenance even if he chooses to wait longer. So even if he chooses to wait longer to like actually marry her or whatever, but he consummated that marriage, he has to maintain her. That's his response. That's the only responsibility that's there. That's the provision. Like she has to be able to physically handle it, and he has to maintain her, according to Al Shafi. Let's go to Abu Hanifa. Like I can do this all day. Like don't act like I didn't sit in my room for hours, hoping and praying that these people were wrong, and I was gonna find out the truth. But I kept on finding out every single day, every single time I sat down to do this research.
Sajida, you like monologuing is mad annoying, dude. Okay, I don't care how many times you want to.
Why are you muting me?
Because you're just rambling, dude. Honestly,
I'm reading you sources. You asked for sources. I'm bringing them to you.
You're rambling. No, you're not reading anything. You're rambling. Listen, I don't care how many times you want to deny the fact that the Quran literally has a verse that says there is a marriageable age, and that the Quran would not say there's a marriageable age if there wasn't a marriageable age.
Yeah, for guys, it's nocturnal emission. For girls, it's being able to handle the penetration.
They said it's puberty.
Boom, there you go. I just answered it for you.
They said
where does it say puberty?
It says it in the tafsir that it's puberty.
Okay, who's tafsir?
Why are we doing this again? I already told you.
No. You never showed me puberty. I read Ibn Kathir. It didn't say puberty, bro. I want to read it.
You're a liar. Wallahi, you're a liar.
Okay, Allah prohibited giving the unwise the freedom to do as they wish with wealth, which Allah has made as a means of support for people. I'm literally reading what you want me to read.
No, you're crashing out. You're crashing out.
How am I crashing out?
Because you've already read this. The fact that you don't remember you read this is crazy.
Okay, where does it say puberty? We even went to the third paragraph.
What does it say? The third bullet.
Yep, we even went there. And what did I tell you? What did I tell you?
It says, and test the orphans, meaning test their intelligence, as Ibn Abbas, Mujahid al-Hasan al-Sudi, and Muqatil bin Hayyan stated, until they reach the age of marriage, the age of puberty. It says it right there. You've already read it. I'm not sure why we're doing it.
And then I followed up with the sentence after it that says the age of puberty, according to the majority of scholars, comes when the child has a wet dream. I just brought that up. Nocturnal emission. That's for boys. For girls is when she can physically handle the penetration.
Wait. Women don't have nocturnal emissions?
I mean, I've never experienced it, to be honest with you.
But
grown women, I'm sure, do. But a little girl, that doesn't happen often, and that's not the sign for puberty or maturity. There's other things that happen. There's different things that happen to boys and different things that happen to girls. You're a doctor, you want me to go in the 5 tender stages of puberty? Is nocturnal emission listed under little girls? Is it yes or no?
So. Dude, calm down.
No, that's annoying because you're trying to paint me as a liar when your sources say what it says. How?
You said women don't have nocturnal emissions.
When they're going into puberty, it's highly unlikely, and I'm sure it's a small percentage, but that doesn't mean that's how a girl goes into puberty.
Why don't you look up the percentage?
I will. Let's look up the 5 tender stages of puberty for girls.
No, look up the percentage. Since you're going to drop percentages, and you said it was
percentage of prepubescent girls.
Why would it be prepubescent?
Because in order for them to become pubescent, they have to be prepubescent. So they have to have this nocturnal dream as a prepubescent girl, and that would take them what? In your eyes, that means puberty. So you're telling me if a 7-year-old girl for some reason has a wet dream, that's puberty now? What are you going on about? But I'm going to still look up the percentage.
I think you have some serious comprehension issues, and it makes
No,
total
you're
sense.
just getting upset and
It
you
makes
want to
total
insult me
sense.
personally. I'm not going to insult you personally because I'm not feeling insecure. But you're going to come after me because you are feeling insecure.
It's not that. It's because I've already cooked you 8,000 times today, and you're just
What happened?
you're trying to go in circles and circles and circles, and it's just at this point it's annoying.
No. I've proven my point. I've given you more than enough sources that support what I've been saying. I've given you more than enough sources that support the case that I've made. You did not cook me. You did not debunk me. You did not change my mind. And you, like, I don't know what else to tell you. Now, also, because this is a moot point. I mean, there's.
Okay, guys, I'm done with this conversation. I've already
Of course you're
explained to
done.
her.
Of course you're done. Of
I've
course you're
already
done.
explained to her a number of things that she came up here
Like what?
completely
4,
disagreeing with.
6? Come on, Doc.
She said 4-6 doesn't mention marriageable age.
Can you bring? Oh, yeah, which means wet dream, nocturnal
So
emission.
now it does say that? Because
I
you
already
said it
said
didn't
it.
say that.
I
You
didn't say
said
it
it
didn't
didn't
say.
say that though.
I said it doesn't apply to little girls. Even when you go to the Asbab and Nuzul, it's talking about what? A little boy. But since he walked away, let's talk about the Bible because he wants to bring up the Bible. Let's talk about the Bible because he wants to bring up the Bible.
So anyway, hold on.
I'm bringing.
Stop unmuting yourself for a second.
No, I'm bringing up the Bible because he wants to
I
talk about the Bible.
We'll talk about the Bible in a second because you're gonna have a hard time defending it anyway.
No,
I want to
I'm
make
not.
something very clear. She keeps
close.
lying about marriageable age. It's in the Quran. It's called puberty. It's unanimously agreed upon in the tafsir that this.
Which means nocturnal emission.
Oh, you're just waffling, dude. All of you are.
I'm agreeing with
You're
you.
moving the goalpost nonstop.
Your tafsir says nocturnal emission.
Before you said that marriageable age wasn't in the Quran. You said that.
I said I was going to give you the argument, but this doesn't apply to girls with fathers because a father has a right to give away her daughter. This verse is specifically speaking about orphans. So if you want to make it about marriage, we can. That's fine. But it's literally talking about orphans and their wealth. Chapter 4, verse 6 is speaking.
Okay. So chapter 4.
What are you doing? You said you weren't going to mute me. You said you weren't going to drop me.
Because now you're crashing out.
How am I crashing out?
When you get cooked, you start to just throw shit at the wall and
I wish you cooked me.
Sticks. Nothing's sticking.
Ask the doc. I wish you cooked me.
You're gish galloping. It's called gish galloping.
I promise you. I wish.
A bunch of shit at the wall.
I wish you were able. I wish you were able to cook me on this.
Okay, just stop talking while I'm talking, bro. It's mad weird. You're throwing a bunch of shit at the wall to see what sticks and nothing's sticking. You initially came up here, it's all recorded anyway, and said marriageable age is not in the Quran. That's what you told me. I showed it to you. Then you said, well, what is the marriageable age? It doesn't say it's puberty. And then I showed you that it literally says it's puberty. Now you're saying, well, define puberty because it's girls don't have wet dreams. And you're wrong. Girls do have wet dreams. So everything you say, I've been able to debunk. Nothing I've said, you've been able to debunk. Now we can move on to your Bible, okay? We can talk about Ezekiel 16 that literally talks about if anybody brings anybody up, I'm going to unmod you.
No.
If anybody brings anybody up, I'm going to unmod you.
No, but here's the thing, right?
Talk about Ezekiel 16.
We can, but we're not done because you just lied on me. You just lied on me, and I need to have my closing statement, just like you had yours. You lied on me. I never said what you claimed that I said. I literally said chapter 4, verse 6. It's about orphans and their wealth. And you brought up the tafsir and we read it. And I clearly told you that it has nocturnal emission on there.
By the way, hold on. Somebody wants to bring up a source, so I'm going to put that on the screen while you waffle.
Nocturnal emission, which literally speaks about what? Boys. When I go to the Asbab and Nuzul, it clearly talks about
you want to read what's on the screen?
I can't see it. I can't see it.
Okay. You want me to read it for you? Says nocturnal emissions in girls, also known as wet dreams, can typically occur anytime at the onset of puberty, which usually starts between 8 and 13. Oh, dude, you and all of
Wait,
your Islamophobes are jokes. You are literally jokes, bro. You guys get cooked on the daily, on the regular. You get cooked. You literally get dismantled on the regular, and then you change the goalpost. You move it, you move it, you move it, you move it. And I cook, I cook, I cook. And then you get embarrassed, bro. And it's embarrassing. You're not even doing Christianity any justice, bro. Like, stand up here as a real Christian, bro, and say something that makes sense. Talk about the Trinity. For real. Talk about the Trinity. Come up here and say, you love Jesus and Jesus loves you. Like, don't come up here and talk about my religion. You know nothing about it. You got cooked every time, every single minute of the day. Anyway, let me read Ezekiel 16 to you guys since you're all in here. Since we didn't really get a chance to do this, but we'll talk about it anyway. Ezekiel 16 says everything that she thinks that our religion says. Ezekiel 16. Okay, let me read it for y'all. Oh, it says, then I passed by and I saw you. It's talking about basically when somebody's ready for love. And even if they try to say this is talking about Israel, it's not talking about a girl, then you still have to explain to me why your God is talking to Israel in a way that befits a like almost prepubescent woman. Because it says, then I passed by and I saw you kicking about in your blood. And as you lay there in your blood, I said to you, live. So basically, this is like when you're an infant. And it says, I made you grow. Now you're growing like toddler, right? I made you grow like a plant of the field. You grew and developed and entered puberty. What is entered puberty? Stage 1 of puberty, right? Which is what? When your breast formation begins, right? So it says your breast had formed and your hair had grown. Stage 1 of puberty. This is before menses, by the way, because menstrual cycles are not in stage 1 of puberty. Stage 1 of puberty is breast formation and pubic hair. Okay, and it says later I passed by. Oh, it says your breast had formed and your hair had grown. I passed by, and when I looked at you and saw that you were old enough for love, that you are old enough for love. So I don't know how you can really even come at Islam when this is in your book. It's mind blowing. It's actually mind blowing. So yeah. Elizabeth, sit down, bro, please. Do you want to answer Ezekiel 16, please?
of course I do, but you can't mute me or you can't kick me, okay? All right. So let's go to 1 Corinthians 7:36, and then we'll go to the Greek analysis because the book was written in Greek. So it says, hold on, my computer's loading. Let me just read the regular, and then I will go to the Greek. So this is in 1 Corinthians
Show us, please. Can you show us?
7:36. I can't open up my camera, I'm sorry. But you can pull it up. 1 Corinthians 7:36. If there are
Wait,
any
this is
Christians in the
Ezekiel.
chat, can you just put it in the comment
This
section
isn't
so they can get it?
Ezekiel 16.
No, I am going to go to Ezekiel after this. I am. But if any man thinks he's behaving improperly toward his virgin, which means his betrothed, if she is past the flower of youth, and thus it must be, let him do what he wishes. He
Corinthians
does not
what?
set.
Corinthians what? Corinthians what?
First Corinthians
Yeah.
7:36.
7:36.
And it says, but if any man thinks he's behaving improperly toward his virgin, if she is past the flower of youth, and thus it must be, let him do what he wishes. He does not sin. Let them marry. Okay. So now we go
Wait,
to
hold on. I want to add something. So you're
sure.
saying that this verse is saying that if any man, okay, thinking that he behaveth himself unseemly towards his virgin, that if she's past the age of the flower of her age, meaning that if she's before, he can be with her. It's
No,
before.
no. I'll read it again.
So
If, however, anyone, if
why
forever,
yeah,
go
go
ahead,
ahead.
go ahead. No, ask your
No,
question. Go.
why talk about if she's past her period if you can't be with her if she was before her period?
Okay, so again, let me read it for you and I'll read it slower this time. But if any man thinks he's behaving improperly towards his virgin, right? Meaning if they're getting steamy, if the attraction is getting too high, if she is past the flower of her youth, and thus it must be, let him do what he wishes. He does not sin. Let them marry. Okay? That's it. It's that
But why
simple. You
is
don't have to add
why is he physically
because
with
he's
a pre?
engaged. They're engaged and the intensity is getting
Guys,
too
hold on one
much.
second. Hold on, Sajinda, hold on. Guys, I want to ask a
Don't
question
call me a
because
jinn because I'll get nasty too and you don't want me to insult you either.
okay, that's fine. Guys, I want to ask you a question. Why is a man allowed to be hot and steamy with a prepubescent girl?
It doesn't say prepubescent. I'm about to take you to the Greek text. The New Testament was written in Greek. Let's go look at the text, okay? It says, if, however, anyone is behaving improperly to the virgin, let's go look at what that word means. You click on it because I'm looking at the Greek analysis. It says, let it load.
Guys, does
It
it not
says,
say that in the like? Is she not reading that?
no, I'm reading it. I'm reading you what the Greek means. Why are you freaking out?
No, you're saying that if a man is with a girl, right, and they're hot.
Yeah, so virgin literally means in the Greek, the usage, okay, it's parthenos. Primarily refers to a virgin, typically a woman who has not engaged in sexual relations.
Okay.
In the New Testament, it is used to describe both literal and metaphorical purity. The term can also refer to a young woman of marriageable age, emphasizing her chastity and purity. Now, what is marriageable age? That
Marriageable
is such a
age.
good question. What
Marriageable
is
age.
marriageable age? Now, if we can, don't get too excited, buddy. Don't get too
I'm
excited.
not.
Because when we continue to read on the
Regardless of what
verse,
you say, you're about to
hold
get
on.
cooked over this verse.
Hold on. I'm not. I'm literally not because I answer
You'll
this all
see.
day, every day. Okay. Give me 1 second. Hold on. Where to go?
So why is this girl named Blake saying defending Sajida right now? I thought she was supposed to be a Muslim.
Who?
She said a fiance visit his fiance. Of course, they'd want to be with each other.
No. Leave Blake out of this. Blake is
Wait,
just in the comments. Don't point anybody out. Don't call out any names.
hold on.
I don't like that.
Hold on.
She's been bullied enough,
Sajida, hold
Doc.
on. No. Stop it. Guys, I want y'all to know that that girl who literally came in here, and when I was talking, she was going against what I was saying. When Sajida's talking, she's agreeing with Sajida. And then now but she claims to be Muslim online. So let me tell you what these people do, these Islamophobes. They can't fuck with Islam at all because Islam cooks them every single time. That they gotta pretend to be Muslim that's questioning Islam, thinking that it legitimizes their questions. No. Whether you're a Muslim who asks these questions, an ex-Muslim who asks these questions, or an Islamophobe who asks these questions, you're going to get cooked by Islam regardless. I
Bro,
hope that's clear, Blake.
take it
Nice
easy.
try.
Just leave Blake out of this.
Nice try,
I don't
Blake.
like that. Okay, let's move on. So we left off at virgin. What's marriageable age? Of him supposes if she's beyond youth. What is beyond youth, right? This would be marriageable age. What is this, right? When you click on the word, the Greek word is huperakmos, which means past the bloom of youth, beyond the prime, okay? While there is no direct Hebrew equivalent of huperakmos, well, it doesn't matter because the New Testament was written in Greek, the concept of reaching maturity or the appropriate age of marriage can be related to terms like, and it gives you a whole bunch of Hebrew words that I can't say, meaning young man or chosen one, which often implies someone in the prime of life. The term huperakmos is used to describe someone who's beyond the prime of their youth, typically referring to a person who is of marriageable age but has not yet married. It implies a stage in life where one is expected to have reached maturity and readiness for adult responsibilities such as marriage. In ancient Greek culture, reaching the age of marriage was a significant milestone. Young men and women were expected to marry and start families once they reached a certain age, which was considered the peak of prime of their youth. Being Hooper Acmos, hold on, I'm still reading, indicated that a person who had surpassed the ideal age of marriage, so somebody who has completed puberty and surpassed it, that's when they're ready for marriage. Now, when you go to Ezekiel, when you're reading that,
Hold on. No. You're not gonna do two at one. You do
Oh,
one at
okay,
a
my
time.
bad. Go ahead.
All right, good. No problem. Okay. I'm gonna do this basic logic for y'all. But if a man thinketh that he behaveth himself unseemly towards his virgin, if she be past the flower of her age, and if need so requireth, let him do what he will. He sinneth not. Let them marry.
Yeah,
So,
buddy. That's what I just read.
stop, bro. You
Are you
tried.
gonna eisegete the Bible?
Okay. So, guys, I want y'all to know something.
All right,
This
Christians.
this
Just
Bible
just
verse.
let's just slash
Stop,
together.
dude. Stop. Why are you so scared, bro? She shook. When
Scared
she
of
talks
what?
about Islam, I sit
Not of
back like
you.
this because I have so much confidence in
You
Islam
weren't
that I
sitting
don't need
back.
to jump every second. I don't need to do that. Calm down. You
Really?
don't need to jump. I'm going to give you time to explain. So, this can only mean one thing. It literally can only mean one thing. That if you're hanging out with a prepubescent child, this is what this is telling you, that a man can hang out with a prepubescent child, and if things get hot and steamy and they can't control themselves, then they should get married only if she's past her period, past her puberty. That's what this is telling you. It's not saying that no man should sit with a prepubescent girl and get hot and steamy. It's saying that if a man sits with a prepubescent girl and gets hot and steamy, that's what it says. And I want you to defend that.
I
Go
can
ahead.
call you a
Cooked.
liar now because you
Cooked.
weren't listening to
Cooked.
me.
Wallah, you're
You
cooked.
weren't listening to me.
Prove it.
Because I
No,
already
I'm
told
reading
you
it. I'm reading your
the
Bible verse.
word virgin doesn't mean prepubescent. What are you
Okay.
talking
Nice
about? I
try.
told
Nice try. She said the word virgin doesn't mean
I
prepubescent. So let's
literally
read this
read it
together.
for you. It says the Greek.
You're not going to do that. I'm going to cook you and you're going to be mad. You're going to be so mad. Okay. So I didn't say that virgin meant prepubescent. I didn't say that. Okay. She's trying to strawman me. She's trying to say that's what I said so she can try to make me look wrong. But this is what I'm saying. I'm saying that the verse says, but if any man thinketh that he behaveth himself unseemly towards his virgin, if she's past puberty, let them get married. Meaning that if she's not past puberty, they shouldn't get married. Meaning that a man can hang out with a prepubescent child and get hot and steamy, and only if she's past puberty can they get married. You're cooked. Your book literally encourages, basically condones and tolerates prepubescent hangouts with a man and a prepubescent girl. You literally got smoked. You brought my verses, I used them against you. You brought your verses, I used them against you. You got smoked. Wallah, you got smoked. What are we doing here? What are we doing here, bro? This is why Islam is the fastest growing religion in the world, by the way. No way she reads that verse and she's comfortable with it. If that was a verse in the Quran, she'd be like, oh, because look at in 65:4, she tries to say that it allows for prepubescent like consummation because it says if you haven't reached your period, if you don't get periods, then there's a iddah. So she's assuming that that means there's an assumption there that no periods means prepubescent. But when I read this and it says you can hang out basically if she's past her period, marry her. What about if she's not past her puberty? Talk to us. Tell us what that means. It says, if she be past the flower of her age, let him do what he wills. Basically, let him do what he wills is crazy, by the way. He sinneth not. Like, ain't no sins. Go ahead. Like, do whatever you want to do. Let them marry. But what about if he's with his virgin and they're hot and steamy and she's not past the flower of her age? Okay, let me ask that again. What if he's with his virgin? Mind you, I'm quoting your book. What if this man is with his virgin? He owns this chick, okay? And he thinketh that he behaveth himself unseemly towards his virgin, but she's not past the flower of her age. What do you do in that situation? Tell me. Tell me what you do in that situation, Yalla. Come up here and tell me. Don't deflect. Tell me what you do in that situation.
Listen, all you want to do is
What
equate
do you do?
Islam and Christianity so that you don't look bad. And if that
Stop
makes you
waffling.
feel better,
Stop
that's okay.
waffling.
I
Stop
read the
waffling. What do you do in that
commentary for you.
situation?
I read to you what virgin means. By no means does virgin in this context say prepubescent girls. I explained it to you. You're still going to lie. You're still going to lie. I don't understand. I explained it to you that a virgin in this context literally means somebody who's of marriageable age. And what Paul is saying, and if she's past that, she can go ahead and get married. They're not sinning. Nowhere in the Bible does it say that it's okay to consummate with a little girl or a prepubescent girl, but it's going to make you feel better about your situation to do that. It's going to make you guys feel better about your situation to call me a jinn, to come after me personally. If that's going to make you feel better,
What does the man do with his virgin if she's not past puberty?
she's of marriageable age in
What does the man
Christianity.
do? What does a man do with his virgin if she's not past puberty, dog? That's what we're asking you.
No, a virgin,
I'm asking you, what does
somebody,
a man do with his virgin
nothing.
if
In
she's not past
Christianity,
puberty?
nothing. I'm answering your stupid
No,
question. I've
no.
answered it.
Are they not allowed to hang out?
Not if she's prepubescent.
So what's his verse? Why does his verse exist?
It says
Why
she's
does the
got it
verse exist if they can't hang out before puberty?
because she's of marriageable age.
Boom.
She's adult enough, but she
Wait,
has.
wait. Hold on.
Why do you keep muting me? Do you want me to
Why does the
explain it
verse
or not?
exist?
Because I can leave.
Go ahead.
I let you sit
You
here and
can
lie to
leave. You
me.
already got
You
cooked,
you
bro.
lied to me for an hour
You
about your
got
religion,
cooked.
and
You
I was
got cooked.
respectful each time you lied. You didn't
Why
cook.
does the
You
verse
still didn't
exist?
prove me wrong. You
Why
still
does
did
the
not
verse
prove me
exist?
wrong.
Why does the verse exist?
Because in Christianity, marriage is not like it is in Islam, right? It's not top priority. Even Paul says, if it's better for you to worship God, then you don't have to get married. If you're single and worshiping God, marriage doesn't have to be at the top of your list. So if he's hanging out with his betrothed, his fiancée, she's of
Who's the
marriageable
prepubescent?
age. No, not
No.
prepubescent. No,
You're
I
not
just read
doing
it
that.
to you.
No, you're not doing that.
I literally read it to you. The term refers to a young
What
woman
if
of
she's
marriageable
not past?
age.
What if she's not past puberty, dude?
Then nothing happens with her. She's a little girl.
So he can hang out with her.
Nope.
Then why does the verse exist?
Because the first time it's calling her a virgin, which is somebody of marriageable age. The second time
Wait.
it's saying,
A virgin means marriageable age?
yeah, and I'll tell you why. Because this is when she's a young lady.
Hold on.
This is when she's a young woman.
Guys, a virgin means marriageable age.
Yeah. Do you want me to read it for you again? The Greek word parthenos primarily refers to a virgin, typically a woman who has not engaged in sexual relations. In the New Testament, it is used to describe both literal and metaphorical purity. The term can also refer to a young woman of marriageable age, emphasizing her chastity and puberty. Nowhere in this verse is prepubescent girl even saying. So what Paul is saying is if you're betrothed to your virgin,
It's beautiful because actually she's getting cooked even more. Because there's a distinction here, right? It says that if a man is with his virgin, if she's past puberty, marry her. So if a virgin means marriageable age, does that mean that you can have a marriageable age that's before puberty? Because there's a question in here. It's an if. It says if she's past puberty. What if she's not? Because I know the Bible wouldn't say if she's past puberty if it already knew it already knew she was past puberty. Do you understand what I'm saying? You're not going to beat around this. I'm not going to let you waffle. You're going to explain this to me because this is what y'all do. Y'all sit on live all day and you say 65-4 means that it's prepubescent girls, because if they don't have their period, then they must be prepubescent. That's what y'all do. If they don't have their period, they must be prepubescent. And your Bible is saying if you're with a virgin, if she's past puberty, meaning that there's an option that she's not past puberty. If means there's an option that she's not past puberty. That means that this man can hang out with his virgin who's not past puberty. He can. Been ever cornered or cooked by a Zion in my life.
You got cornered, not cooked. You got cornered, not cooked.
Second of all, I want to say something. I told you, Hamza, from the first day I was a better debater than you. And you said, why? Because I said it's not about information. It's about how you debate and how to get out of it. And you, and let me tell you why.
You are better
Absolutely
than
not.
home.
Menstruates, right? There's
Can
something in the
just,
medical.
I just want to
Sorry.
say something real quick to a lot of people in the comments. I just see this a lot and it bothers me. So I just have a quick message to the Muslim community. Guys, the verse is clear. You don't have to start, oh, it's about this, it's about that. The verse is about young women, young girls who have not yet menstruated. You don't have to start making up cop-out responses for it. That's what it's about. And just like Doc said, just because she hasn't menstruated yet, it does not mean and it does not follow that she is not marriageable. That's a non sequitur, right? So that's what Doc is saying, and the hadith supports that. The hadith, actually, asbab and nuzul for this verse is that these verses were being revealed, and then people came and asked the Prophet, and they asked him, "What about the young girls? They haven't been addressed." And then that verse was revealed. So the verse was revealed for that very purpose.
Yeah.
And as a Muslim, you have to accept that. Making up these responses about, oh, well, it's, amenorrhea or what the hell, bro, it's not about that. Right? It's about young girls who have not yet menstruated. There's no reason to shy away. All right. Doesn't mean that you can marry children.
Libyano, amenorrhea simply just means that you haven't had your menstruation. And that is the term, the medical term, used to describe women who reach puberty but don't menstruate.
Yeah, it encompasses that for sure.
Yeah.
But it's not just for that. That's just not what Islamic jurisprudence is.
Right.
It's just,